surrogacy, and that felt like a really good fit. And done that for a number of years now, and have really, really enjoyed that work as well.
So in sex surrogacy,
Mhm.
you work with a sex therapist. It's like a
Mhm.
triad model, right? Where
Exactly.
you're like the hands-on therapist, and there's like a kind of a talk therapist, and then
Mhm.
there's the patient or client. So
Mhm.
with the clients, do you often find yourself working with them in ways that like end up like basically touching each other and having sex, or is it
Mhm.
typically just you touching them?
It's we both touch each other, and the reason for that, and if you think about it, sex, like many things we do physically, is tactile. We learn by doing.
Yeah.
And, you have somebody who's just, for example, 50 years old, never even held hands with another person. And it doesn't do them any favors to say, oh, go on OK Cupid and just meet
Right.
somebody and then just go practice with someone and put that other person up. Now they're a trainer. Like that's not really kind to do to somebody and set them up like that. So yeah, so it's teaching how to hold hands, eye gazing, learning to talk with looking at another person and not, shying away from that. Um, Going out to a restaurant and learning how to, go on a date with someone, cuddling, holding, spooning, caressing, touching a body that isn't your own, and being receiving touch from someone that isn't yourself. It's all very, very powerful. It's very slow. It's very methodical. There's, steps that go through. I would see a client for ideally for like a couple hours, just making up days, like on a Monday, and then call the therapist afterwards. This is what we worked on. This were their highs, their lows, challenges, etc. And they would see their therapist maybe Tuesday or Wednesday and be able to process and talk through what came up for them. It doesn't work well if the surrogate is also playing the role of the therapist. I mean, it's very therapeutic for the client. And they do
Mhm.
have questions that come up during, and it can be a little bit of therapy, but it takes away the part of being a surrogate partner, someone who's actually a partner. If you're like holding that partner space and then you're like, okay, let me sit back and be your therapist now and process.
Right. It's such different functions.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're talking and you're going deep to perhaps like a
Mm-hmm.
certain moment of trauma, and like
Mm-hmm.
embracing touch is so different modality. So I
Mm-hmm.
can see how when you're touching each other, it's best to just focus on that.
Well, it's good to focus on that too. And even when they want to go deep, and sometimes they do, and they'll cry and they want to talk about it at that
Mhm.
time, and that's fine. But also, what happens is those things are very powerful and they stick with them 4 days later. And to have
Yeah.
another person who is on your team and able to process that with you is very powerful and very supportive.